Kat, and so for my project, I decided to pick a Black Mirror episode and discuss how it commentated on government surveillance. So the episode follows a detective and her shadow as they investigate the mysterious deaths of a journalist and famous rapper, especially because they both take place after facing mass amounts of hate on social media. And they end up finding out that the deaths are linked to this Twitter hate game that utilizes the hashtag Death2, and that the deaths are caused by these autonomous drone insects known as ADIs, which were originally created to save the environment. So the episode then just follows their investigation as they try to find out how these bees that were originally created with good intent were now used to cause these deaths. So the episode demonstrates how government surveillance only leads to weakening security of the technology itself, making it susceptible to the biases and harmful agendas of the hacker and anyone else behind the technology. This is first made clear between the scene where the head of Granular is boasting about the ADI's top-notch security system, and then later when it's revealed that Granular had to give the government access to their entire visual feed in order to receive government funding. And this shows that the government's push for nationwide surveillance essentially made the ADIs hackable, and the sniff game therefore possible. And then there's also a scene where the detective team finds this 98-page manifesto, which reveals that Garrett Scholes is the hacker of the Hives and outlines the game's true premise. And I think this shows how technology is not this self-created neutral platform, but instead it's dependent on the biases of whoever is behind the technology. And in this case, it was a hacker that shouldn't have had control. And the need for government surveillance was what gave this hacker the ability to hack. And then there's also an ending scene where Park and Coulson are walking through a warehouse of all the people who were killed from this game. And so it's horrific but necessary to display the concrete ramifications that security breaches can have. And it just shows that hundreds of thousands of deaths were made possible by weakened security systems. Brittany Hunter reviewed this and also focused on the episode's commentary on government surveillance as well, and she argued that finding out that the government surveillance was what made the hacking possible was the true twist in the episode. And she says the episode perfectly demonstrates once you allow backdoors to be placed in electronics, you make those devices vulnerable to hackers whose motives may be even worse than the government itself. And then Lizzie Plojic had a more negative review. She just complained that the episode lacks any kind of hope, considering that everyone in the episode is at fault. And yet I would argue that Brooker, the director and producer, never actually demonizes the technology. And I think in general, Black Mirror really just explores the wondrous capabilities of technology while contrasting against the human's ability to twist and manipulate it. So in conclusion, I would say technology is not inherently evil and the government is not always against us, but instead this episode kind of shows the dangerous overlaps and perversion of intentions that can lead to harmful consequences. So it reveals the broad strokes of gray that can overcome our black and white mentality, considering that while government surveillance and advances in technology can definitely be a good thing and are sometimes necessary, they can also enable major security breaches that this episode illustrates. So yeah, here are my references.